children naturally. I'm like, your hair looks beautiful. Like, why aren't you? And it's like, I don't know. Like, I try not to fight it too much, but it's like at the same time, it's like.
Yeah, like my mother, she's
beautiful.
the same way. She'll have her little China bumps in the night before, and then she'll take it out in the morning. I'm like, you just spent an hour putting that in. Why would you take that out? She's like, I can't wear my hair like this to work. And I'm like, you can.
Yeah, you can.
I was like, your daughter thinks this for a living. So that way people are comfortable with this. That's why I encourage, or that's why I do these things, because I want them in places where you don't see them, to let people know, like, this is our hair. One, it's okay, nothing's wrong with it. And two, people should be comfortable with the way they are. You know?
I chose these two pieces because of the gold color and the hair. And my grandson is autistic. He doesn't speak yet. I'm buying all kinds of things from everywhere. It's not prompting him to speak. So I figured maybe, because he's always looking at the art, maybe the hair, the colors, the texture, he can talk and maybe he will say something. And he will understand, because not only that, his mother's hair is like this. By him being a black kid, his mother's hair is like this. And you know, sometimes we as black women don't want you to touch our hair. So now he can go to the painting and actually touch it and say, oh, and maybe he can come with a relational thing. Oh, this is how mommy hair feels, this is how hair feels, or whatever. He can now cross-relate it in some kind of way. I'm just trying to find anything at this point. And I'm so glad I came here and I saw this. And I'm going to bring my family back. And I'm going to say, look, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. Because you ain't going to find this art anywhere else. They don't make it anywhere else. I didn't find it. I would look Amazon. I look Walmart. I look Ph.D. I look Pinterest. I look everywhere. I didn't see any art like this that would prompt my grandson to want to at least speak or want to touch. It can help somebody that's autistic somewhere along the line. And it's just wonderful. It's beautiful, and it's educational. It's sensory. It's all of these things in one. It's priceless for me. It's priceless. It's priceless.
Welcome, and thank you so much for exhibiting your work here at Poetic Heaven. Can you tell me a little bit about the different pieces that you have here?
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me, because without this lovely lady, I would not even have this opportunity. So I'm very thankful for her.
Oh, thanks.
So my pieces are dedicated to black women and their hair. So what I like to do is incorporate hair by using either actual hair, gemstones, rhinestones, glass, flowers, sequins, wires, whatever I can think of to actually represent black hair, because black hair is more than just one thing. It's not just hair itself, it's beauty, it's independence, it's perseverance. It can be multiple different interpretations for the black woman experience. So I try to incorporate that into my pieces, as you see over here. So over here,
I love this piece, for example, because it kind of
it looks like
mine.
somebody.
Tell me about it. Like, what inspired this?
Well, I know in the summertime, particularly black women have to have they don't have to, but they like to put protective styles because it's hot. So this particular piece is called Summer, I believe. Yes. So you here to see the sun hat, you see the dreads because her hair is protected, and these could either be faux locks or they could be actual locks, and that's why I did dreads for this particular piece. This piece is called Fall. In the fall we wear turtlenecks, it gets a little cooler. Me personally, I like to try out more hairstyles in the wintertime, just because that's more time I don't feel like doing my hair, because I don't want to wake up every day and have to do a twist out or try to figure out how to do my hair. And then this last piece over here is called Spring. In springtime, it can either be cold or hot in the state of Connecticut, because no one ever knows. So as such, or stay in New England or the Northeast. So as such, I have a big afro. So that way, whether it's cold or hot, afro will always work in the springtime. I tell people, and it's also on my business card, that I'm a mixed media artist. Because I don't just use acrylic, I don't just use oils, it's a lot of 3D. So I use different types of media. Some pieces have jewelry, some pieces have hair, some pieces have little trinkets like I have in mine, and I like to incorporate that because it's representative of me and my life. So I like to replicate my life onto pieces.
What made you become an artist? Like, what inspired you?
That's a good question. I wanting to find a way to reach out to people without public speaking.
Interesting, and you're doing a
And
great
here I
job
am
now.
public speaking.
Beautiful.
So full circle. So I figured, how do I reach out to people? How do I communicate? How do I tell people my thoughts without verbally telling people my thoughts? Let me paint, and then that will hopefully strike up a conversation. Because I'm really good with one-on-one conversations. So when people ask me, why did you do this? Or why hair? Or why these colors? I'm able to explain that versus me saying, I did this because X, Y, and Z.
Amazing representation
Thank
of like
you.
what we can do. We can braid our hair, afros,
Yes.
we can do wraps, we can put
Locks,
anything,
all of it.
anything.
Yes.
That's just our culture, you
Yeah.
There's still more to this.
And when the so I graduated with bachelor's in studio art. With my education, it was very good for giving me a foundation of the basics. You know, the color wheel, red and yellow makes orange, blue and yellow makes green. You know, that stuff. Also blending techniques and whatnot. But as far as finding something for myself and a particular style for myself, I know school has its own syllabus on how they teach students. So they really want you to figure it out for yourself, kind of. So it wasn't until after school that I really found my voice and I was able to say, okay, I want to branch out and do something different that I've never seen before. Because even in school, funny enough, I did horrible in painting. Like season D's.
Does it look like
it's
horrible in painting?
Honestly, I don't know. Because
Why do you think? Why do you
because it
think
wasn't to
that?
their standards. So they're all about classicism. And it's all about, Picasso and Monet and doing paintings similar to that style according to their teaching at the same time, trying to balance it out. And I didn't like that. I don't like to be constrained. So they're like, oh, for example, they taught us like with shading, you don't use black, you use purple or you use blue because I think that were like purely black. And I'm like, I'm gonna use black. I don't like rules. I don't like rules.
Rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah, and I don't think art is about rules.
No, it's not. Definitely not.
But we learned rules in school. So that kind of got me not turned off, but a little sour mode. I don't know another way to say sour, but basically I'm just sad about it because it's just like, if I'm supposed to be following all these rules and I'm getting C's and D's, barely passing this one particular class, should I even be doing this for a living? I always question it. Even to this day, I still question when I do things. I have to tell myself, like, it's okay to use black, it's okay to use black, it's okay to use black, it's okay to use black. So I'm like, I'm using black everywhere.
It's interesting when you talked the last time, you mentioned not being able to exhibit your work in other galleries. Can you share that with us, that experience? And because this is your first time officially exhibiting your work.
Yeah,
So
like
share
solo-wise, because I've been to art shows, and even that's still hard to get into. So my experience hasn't been very good when it comes to exhibiting my work. I try to apply to different places, galleries, even just like hotels. Like, hey, how do you pick out the pieces that you showcase in your art in your hotel? Usually they're partnered up with a gallery, so they'll reach out to that gallery, but they already have the person that they have in mind, so they're not looking for local artists. That's the thing. That's the stigma. Local artists. If you're local artists, they're not really too keen on that.
Why do you think?
I don't know. I think one is finances. Because if they can buy 5 pieces at Michael's or at TJ Maxx, why do that instead of pay somebody, a local artist, to paint something?
Do you think there's a lot of classism in art?
Oh, yeah.
Still, or yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of places, they already have in mind who they want. Whether they already hired that person or not, they already know what they're looking for. It's kind of even like a job interview where they know the candidate in their mind.
Correct.
So they're going to keep going until they find that particular candidate. It's the same process. It's all about a business. So it's the same thing with different businesses as well. They already know who they want in mind, but if you don't fit that criteria, but my whole thing is, they don't even give me the opportunity.
And so you are an entrepreneur, and I want to say that I admire that about you. So can you share that, like, what made you pursue that path also of not just being an artist, but extending that, putting that out there, on the market?
That was with a conversation with myself along with other people. I'm thinking of my own living situation. I don't have enough space to be keeping art and be buying art all the time. I wish I did, but I don't. And when I talk to other people, they always say, oh, I wish I had my own house, or oh, I wish I had the money, or it's always something, which is fine, I get it. But that made me think, like, okay, what is another way to not just sell my regular art, my paint? Because not everybody has the money, not everybody has the space, but I still want to get the message out there. So I was like, let's start with merchandise. So I do bags, because everybody needs a bag,
Of course.
especially in Connecticut when you still have to pay for bags. And everybody wants, a t-shirt.
Correct.
And everybody wants hats, and everybody wants, even a print, like a miniature size version or a paper size version of pieces. So that way they can still have it, maybe they can put it on their desk at work, or they can put it, in the corner of their room because it's still small enough, because 8.5 by 11 is a sheet of paper. So I think me going through these different channels and avenues was another way for me to reach out to people. My personal experience with rejection and people's commentary on my pieces. So I remember I've done shows where people are just like, oh, that's not really for me. And I'm like, or you can just keep your thoughts to yourself and not say anything at all. Or like I said, rejection before, when I explained applying to different places and they denied me for whatever reason, I don't ask. Some places have told me your work is beautiful, but you don't have the experience. But if it's beautiful enough to hang, what does experience have to do with it? That's like telling somebody, you have the skills, but you need 8 years of skills. That doesn't make sense. So I think with the combination of all the negativity that I have experienced, it makes me kind of not confident about
It
what
breaks
I do.
you. It can break your spirit.
Yeah, it breaks my spirit.
Yes.
Even with this show, I brought books with me because I was like, no one's going to show them, so I'm going to read.
I remember
Or no
you
one's
being
here.
nervous
Yeah.
about that, and
Because
look at that.
Because Petulia, she was like, I want you for a month. And I was like,
Yeah.
let's just do a week.
And I said, no, I want you for a month.
Let's just do a week.
Because I want it to be an opportunity where people, like today, yes, you have few, but people have the chance to come in and be empowered and inspired and healed by your work.
Yeah.
Emotional. Tell me about why you're emotional.
Because I
right
can
now.
see the breakthrough. Sometimes it takes a black person to a black person to understand what you're going through. We make things and never knew what they were going to turn out to be. We made this country and we never knew that it would be the world's greatest country. We never knew that. So we as black people, we making things and we need to honor that. We are smart. We are intelligent.
Creative.
Now we have to have the confidence to show our smartness and our intelligence in a way that we can show people, look, we can get this done. Not just for black people, but for the world around us. So that's why I'm so glad I came. I came from the mountains. I came way from the mountains down here to the city to come. And I found her.
Great, and we've been through some wild times, we had some fun times. I just want to say I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
I want to say you've done an amazing job, that this looks absolutely dope, it's beautiful, and the fact that you're pulling inspiration from everyday things, from Instagram, from yourself, from Black women's journeys that we've been evolving over the time and trying to accept ourselves in our natural state, that I think that's even more empowering and even more dope. And I love you, and go on, keep doing bigger and better things, baby.
Thank you.
No problem.
I appreciate it.